Security Now Illustrated by AskMisterWizard.com, illustrating concepts, mechanisms, and algorithms from the amazing Security Now podcast by Steve Gibson and Leo LaPorte. This is segment E, the fifth and final segment from episode number 11 on bad Wi-Fi security. To set the scene for this final fifth segment covering WEP encryption shortcomings, consider this scene showing the operation of WEP. WEP is best understood if we commence with the key value, which should ideally be a large, unpredictable number. For any given WEP session, the key value is fed into an industry-standard RC4 pseudo-random number generator. This produces a stream of random-looking pseudo-random numbers, derived logically from the key value, so that the same key value will always produce the same stream of random-looking numbers. Next, we turn our attention to the plaintext, or the message needing encryption. WEP will typically hold the message in RAM alongside the stream of random numbers. Finally, a simple exclusive OR operation is performed to logically mix each bit of the random number stream with the corresponding bit of the plaintext message. Statistically, this has the effect of inverting half of the bits. But there's no way to know which individual bit may have been inverted in the ciphertext without passing all of the logic through the same sequence again. Bit by bit, the output of this operation becomes the encrypted message or ciphertext, ready for transmission across the public airwaves. With that introduction, let's listen to Steve's analysis of some of the problems.
The more you read about this, and I've studied this extensively, it's like mistake after mistake after mistake. It turns out that because they knew they couldn't use exactly the same key over and over and over, because that would generate exactly the same pseudo-random sequence used for encryption, what they did was they said, okay, we're going to have a 24-bit counter on the front and a 104-bit encryption code. So they put a counter on the front of the key, and every time a message is used, the access point sends the counter and then uses the rest of the 104 bits with the counter to encrypt the message. The problem is, it turns out that RC4 has weak keys. That is, some percentage of keys don't do a good job of pre-scrambling its initial state, so that it ends up not generating good random numbers. So every so often, just in the normal use of traffic going over WEP, every access point, every WEP-based device will encrypt with a bad key, since the receiver has to have that 24 bits to know which key was used. That's sent in the clear. So anything sniffing is able to say, oh, there's a bad key, because now bad keys are well known. So anyway, the bottom line is WEP is really, really, really badly broken.
And if they had just asked, any security expert would have immediately seen the problem and said, no, you can't do it that way.
Oh, exactly. I mean, anyone who understood that RC4 was a good pseudo-random number generator, but you can't trust it in this application for many reasons. For example, if you just throw away the first 256 bytes that it generates, after a while it gets going and it does a good job. But right off the bat, what it's spitting out is not very random. Oh. Well, it turns out that's the header of the packets. And headers have a very well-defined format, which means knowing what the headers are is something any TCP or IP engineer has. So knowing what it is, you can subtract that from the encrypted message and get the random bytes back. I mean, this is horrible.
So really now what we've learned is, and we knew this before, WEP doesn't work. Now we know why WEP doesn't work.
So with this background now, Next week, we're going to talk about what you do to really be secure with wireless and how and why that really works in a very secure fashion.
To see the other segments and related resources for this episode 11, please join us at AskMisterWizard.com. Select Security Now from the prominent section index at the top of the homepage, and then select number 11 from the episode index at the bottom. The original audio-only version of this podcast can be found on the Gibson Research Corporation site at grc.com/securitynow. This clip illustrates some of the highlights from that show. This video clip comes from a large collection of related clips. All are indexed and easy to find at www.askmisterwizard.com, along with related items, text articles, illustrations, and forums. Please visit us today. We appreciate your support. Thank you.